Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the author to her book, written by Anne Bradstreet. Now, before I go into summary and analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, in this work by Anne Bradstreet, we get a very interesting, very fascinating account of a woman in her published work in this poem that she writes about, a work, a book, something that she's published that she really does not like. Within this poem, Bradstreet talks about how this work of hers, this published work of hers is like a child, but the child is like she's given birth to something that's malformed, something that's ugly to look at, something that's just not to her. It's just not good enough. It's not perfect enough. It's something that will go out into the masses and the critics, the people that are going to judge her work. She blames the critics, she blames the media, the people that are going to judge her work, her friends, for publishing it behind her back and not really allowing her to finish it. She blames herself, she blames her brain. She says, her brain is not good enough to make this to make this work better. And that it's her. She blames herself, so it's not just the work itself. She's saying it within this poem. It's not just the work that is to blame, but it's herself and her brain, because she feels like maybe she wasn't smart enough or good enough to make this work, and she's saying it's unfinished, not good enough. So this is a work that gets published. Her friends do publish it, but from the get go of this poem, Bradshaw is saying here that this is not good enough. This is just not what she wants. It was sent out to be published, and everybody's read it, and it comes back to her. Being published, and now she's thinking about all the critics, all the people getting their hands on it and making comments and tearing it apart, taking apart piece by piece. And when you're a writer, when you're an author, this is the toil and the stress and the anxiety and the judgment that you go through, because as soon as you publish something, everybody has something to say. Readers, critics, people who've been in the game for a very long time, everybody has something to say about your work. Is it good? Is every sentence clean and pristine and prepped and good enough to be gazed upon, or good enough to be considered a masterpiece? And your work, day in and day out, forever, as when it gets published, everybody has something to say. Well, even if you're alive or dead, no matter where you are, once you're an author and you publish something, your baby, your work is going to be criticized and torn apart, and it's your baby. This is what Bradstreet is saying within this work. When you're an author and you publish something, it's your baby, because you spend months, years. Some authors spend weeks, months, years, a long amount of time on working on a piece and making sure that it's perfect, that it's good enough. And sometimes, when you talk to artists, that's the common trope, that sometimes artists get so touchy with their work that if you say something that's not pleasing about their work, they revolt, and they're appalled, and they're like, this is good. I don't know what these critics are saying. So really, Bradstreet really, gets into it here. She really gets into it. She's saying that, oh, maybe I can fix it, maybe I can wash the face. So just like a child, she pretty much gives us the imagery to see this poem as a child. She says, I'm going to make it longer. I'm going to make it perfect. I'm going to fix on its face. She says, like, I'm going to wash its face. I'm going to stretch its limbs. I'm going to play around with its limbs, its face, its features, trying to make it better, but she can't make it better. She's saying that, this is a kid of hers. She can never, truly abandon it, because it's her work. She'll always have her name on it. She can never run away with it. And ultimately, at the end of the poem, she sends the poem back out again and tells the poem, listen, be careful out there. Just like you would say to a child that's grown up, be careful out there. There's some dangers out there. She says to the poem, she says not the poem, this work just tells us that this is just a published work. So she says to her written work, her published work, be careful out there, be aware of the critics out there. They're going to tear you apart. And that's kind of very funny, because that's what, critics do to published works. And she's saying, if they ask you, say that you have no father, and tell them that your mother's too poor. It's so poor that they couldn't do any better for you. She tries to clove up the written work. She tries to make it better, but nothing that she does works. So to her, this written work, this published work of hers, this child of hers that is her work, it's pretty much like a miscarriage. It's a child that she worked on. Think about it. Let's say she worked on it for 9 months. She toiled at it, every word, every sentence, every phrase, every paragraph, every chapter, whatever this work was, she toiled at it and toiled at it and toiled at it. And and to her mind, it's not good enough. It's not perfect enough. And when she reads the works, what the critics say about it, what the media says about it, what her friends say about it, she's not satisfied. And even though she tries her best to fix it, nothing's going to fix it. And ultimately, she just, sends it back out there. So this poem, in terms of deeper meaning, in terms of analysis here, we can see how much an author really puts into their work, into their craft. There's nothing in life that's good and that's easy. If something is good and easy, then you have to question its value. Is it valuable? And most likely, it's not valuable, because if you can do something that's very easy and also good, anybody could do it, right? Anybody could do it. Anybody could be successful by snapping their fingers. In every single realm in the world, whenever you're trying to get to something valuable, you have to work hard for it. You have to toil for it. You have to, whether it's like, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're a writer, maybe an artist, maybe you're a musician. There has to be some time when we step into the gym, or into your private area, and really get to work and really focus and really focus on making that craft better. Nothing really comes easy in life, and that's something here. Bradstreet, even though she tries her best, even though that she literally wrecks her mind, she wrecks her brain trying to figure out how to make this child of hers, this published work of hers, better, nothing works out. And this reveals to us of the toil and the heartache, and how hard it is to write a good work. And we can think this and apply this to other works by Anne Bradstreet, where she's focused and toiled. We think about Contemplations, and if we think about, upon the burning of her house, the poem when she talks about upon the burning of her house, how much detail and work and the nuances and how hard she works on her work. We can imagine that to have a work that's not good enough to her, that's not pristine enough, clean enough, it means a lot, because you do dedicate yourself. It's your life work that you dedicate yourself to. And for people to judge it, you want to make sure that it's your best. And even though she tries her best, she's still not satisfied at the end of this poem. But still, it's her work. No matter what she does, it's always going to be with her. It's going, it's the same way that a parent has a child. Even if that child has some defects, or some things that the child does is not good enough or not correct enough, parents still love their kids no matter what, or at least they're supposed to love their kids no matter what. So that's that same dynamic, that same feeling that Bradstreet kind of like allows us to understand through this work of hers that she judges, that she writes this poem about another work that she published that she's not satisfied with. So that's very fascinating and very interesting. And we do get that from this poem by Anne Bradstreet. So that's to the author of her book. She's writing to herself. She's the author of her own book, of her own published work. She's criticizing herself, her friends, the media, their stance, their judgment of a writer's works, what she thinks about it, what role she thinks she plays in it, and how maybe she even judges her brain. So that's all in there, and that's all very fascinating. So that's all I had to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.